Valley Talk on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
Hey, this is Skin Talk. Dr. John Young is with us today. We also have Kevin Svankara. Svankara. And you are a student intern with Silver Falls Dermatology, right?
Well, I'm a fourth-year medical student from Arizona, Midwestern University.
What do you think of the weather?
It's a little cold here. A lot greener, though, so I think the trade-off might be worth it.
Green is nice, isn't it?
It's great.
Hey, so this is Skin Talk. We're going to be talking today about itchy skin condition and eczema, and Kevin Svankara. Did I get that right?
Yes.
I'm working on it. It's Czechoslovakian, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And so he's going to be talking a little bit about itchy skin condition. We'll talk to him a little bit about, what he's young. How old are you?
27.
27. So maybe why you decided to go into dermatology as a study.
Mm-hmm. So decided to go into dermatology first. Just during my undergrad, I went to ASU, started shadowing a dermatologist, and just really took an interest. Obviously, in Arizona, we have a lot of skin cancers, and some of my own family members have had skin cancer, so developed an interest there, and I think it's a great balance between the clinical side of medicine, where you get to see a lot of rashes and conditions, and then as well as the surgical aspect of treating cancers and things like that.
So this is your radio debut. This is the start of your career.
This is the start of my career.
As a syndicated radio talk show host. Well, it starts in little steps and goes up.
He's watched a lot of Jerry Springer, so he's ready.
Right.
Oh, is that what the people were outside for?
That's right.
Okay.
Ready to see the microphones start flying.
There you go. Dr. Corey Mon is with us. Dr. Mon, how are you today?
Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let me turn your microphone on. This is Skin Talk. As always, though, we are giving away a $10 gift certificate for Quiznos in Albany. And just send us a certificate. At the end of the show, we'll draw a name out. You can send it to Dave at KGAL.com or call us at 451-KGAL or 926-KGAL, 451-KGAL, 926-KGAL. And we can draw your name out for a $10 gift certificate from Quiznos in Albany. And they're right next to Novak's Restaurant and also next to the former G.I. Joe Sporting Goods location. So get your name in, and we'll see if we can get you into the drawing. Dr. Young.
Good morning, everyone.
Dr. John Young is with us today.
The little commotion before the party here was just a little musical chairs, that's all.
There we go.
Nothing major.
Nobody was hurt in the
injuries
production of the radio show today.
That's right.
Itchy skin condition, eczema. Dr. Young, first of all, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Kevin Svankara. By the end of the show, I'm going to have that name down. This is a time of the year when that's prevalent, isn't it?
Yeah, Christmas time is the time for giving, and it's now the time for itching as well in our office. And, different seasons tend to come with different things skin-wise. And as the weather turns cooler and the wind starts to kick up, we see people get a lot more rashes in general. And if anyone's ever experienced bad itching, it can drive you crazy. It's almost worse than pain. And you can just scratch incessantly, take hot showers, and do all the things that are really not good for the skin. And that's why a lot of times people will come to us, and we'll have to get them some real relief and try to help them. And it can be a real challenge.
What about the ointments that are available at the drugstore? So you have an itch and it just doesn't go away, and can some of those make it worse?
Well, it's a good point. In general, things that are greasier are better for itchy, dry skin.
There's an old wives' tale about putting butter on it.
That's
burns.
Right. That's right.
Is that okay?
Just don't get too close to the fire.
Okay.
But that's a real good point. And we actually used to use Crisco. If anyone remembers what Crisco is, it's like a frying fatty oil substance. But butter, Crisco, they're all emollients or lubricants, and things like that are greasy are actually good for the skin. But nowadays we don't go so much for the Crisco. It was more for people that couldn't afford medications. But now we have Vaseline, which is really cheap nowadays. So we usually recommend something greasy like a Vaseline if they can tolerate it. But because putting Vaseline all over your body is kind of disgusting, we end up going with more creams and lotions. Creams are greasier than lotions, and so we do like people to use creams more than lotions, but they're harder to spread. So after lotions, then we want to start having to talk about just good skincare in general. But you can definitely find some good things over the counter. One of the things that we try to do in our clinic is be more purist. So a lot of the over-the-counter products have many, many different impurities, you could say, as we would call them, more different things in them to preserve them and make them smell pretty and look nice and have colorings. And so sometimes you'll think you're doing your body a favor by applying something that makes you smell like a rose, but then that can drive a whole nother rash. And so in addition to just the rashes from the dry weather, we see the rashes from the people that are trying to treat their rashes who get allergic to these smelly, fruity, nice lotions that make for good Christmas presents and stocking stuffers.
Oh boy, yeah. We don't have a holiday jingle on that, do we? The itchy skin and yo ho ho and
I don't know if Kevin has anything on that one, but
we'll save that for the end of the show.
Okay. Let's take a break right now, and we'll be back here on Skin Talk in just a moment.
When you look out across the Willamette Valley, you'll see plenty of banking choices. Willamette Community Bank is here to give you an option that's pretty unique, like no other, in fact. Hi, this is Sue Kalina, Relationship Manager. Willamette Community Bank provides an alternative to large national and regional banks by offering customized financial services and local decision-making to benefit local people, local families, and local businesses. How many banks can say that?
Willamette Community Bank, service like no other. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The customs of Christmas. Perhaps no other custom of Christmas is as universally loved as placing a Christmas tree in our homes. How did they first get to America? I'll tell you in a moment.
Happy holidays from the Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. We are excited to bring Lebanon 2 major events in the first quarter of 2013. Watch for the Community Distinguished Service Awards March 12th at the River Center and the very popular Biz Expo April 16th, also at the River Center. Our chamber staff, Mary Kim and I, Shelley Garrett, thank you for your continued support and encouragement. Have a prosperous, safe, and blessed New Year.
The customs of Christmas include Christmas trees. It wasn't until the latter years of the 17th century that the windows of American homes glistened with Christmas tree lights. Long before that, the custom of bringing trees into the home was well established in Strasbourg, Germany, and soon spread rapidly throughout Europe. It was the German immigrants settling first in western Pennsylvania who brought America its own Tannenbaum, the first Christmas tree, to light the homes and hearts of everyone. Another of our customs of Christmas.
It's the holidays, and not only are you running like crazy from morning to night, you're going home to leftover turkey or grabbing fast food on the run. That's no way to be merry. Tonight, relax and come to Novak's. Enjoy a home-cooked dinner and catch your breath. We've got a fabulously priced all-you-can-eat buffet Monday through Thursday nights, or just order off the menu. Let Novak's put the jolly back in your holiday dinner. And make your reservations now for Novak's New Year's Eve Holiday Buffet Extravaganza. We'll have an amazing assortment of appetizers and salads, house-made breads, all your Novak's favorites, plus prime rib, bubbly, and of course, incredible pastries and desserts, all for only $19.95. We can even help you with the shopping. Stuff those stockings with a gift card from Novak's. It's a happy holiday at Novak's.
Hear the truth and only the truth from your cultural crusader, Michael Medved, on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
Hey, this is KGAL Radio. I'm Dave Adams, and it is the second Thursday of the month. That means it is time for Skin Talk. Dr. John Young is in the studio, and Kevin Svenkara, who's from the heritage you have is from Czechoslovakia. That's where your parents and grandparents are from. Let's turn your mic on. And we're talking about principally itchy and skin condition today, and eczema, and this is the time of the year for that, as we mentioned just a moment ago. And Dr. Corey Mon has also joined us here in the studio. So we have the four of us here, and you as well. So thanks for joining us here on Skin Talk today. So Kevin, we're talking about, let's talk about you first of all. Mm-hmm. So you're going to school. You decided to get into dermatology.
Correct.
Why?
Just during my undergrad, I started shadowing a dermatologist in the area. And I just really liked the balance of kind of clinical and surgical aspect of dermatology. And in Arizona, we have quite a lot of skin cancer, and so we see a lot of patients with that. And you can really see the difference that you can make in a lot of the patients' lives and clearing them of those cancers, and especially a lot of the dangerous ones like melanoma.
Why dermatology instead of something like open heart surgery or something like that?
Well, one, like I said, I really like the balance between seeing a lot of clinical aspects of the challenging case of rashes. It can have a pretty broad variety of presentations, and for a lot of physicians, it's difficult for them to differentiate those, but in your training in dermatology, you get very good at doing that.
So how long have you gone to school then? You've gone to school at which institution?
At Midwestern, so I'm in my 4th year. And
so part of the training is you come and do an internship, like it's here at Silver Falls?
So during your 3rd and 4th years of medical school, you're more on clinical rotations. So the first 2 years is more classroom-based, and then during your 3rd and 4th years, you branch out into the different offices. And during our 4th year, obviously, we're getting ready to apply to different residency programs. And so I'm here visiting this program, and I'll be applying for the internship, which is 1 year in Corvallis.
All right. We've been talking about itchy and skin conditions, eczema. This is the time of year for that. Your advice to the listeners. Okay, this is your opportunity to be the host, the show host. What would you have to add to the conversation?
Well, I would just say, eczema is one of the few skin conditions that you do cover pretty in depth in school, and they always tell us, our professors, that it's kind of known as the itch that rashes. So it basically starts as an itch, and the worst thing you can pretty much do is begin to itch at it and destroy that skin barrier, which basically allows you to become more susceptible to anything that'll irritate the skin. Things that usually wouldn't after you've been scratching it for a while will begin to irritate your skin.
Do you actually spread it by scratching?
Spread it just in the fact that you're causing a minor trauma to the skin wherever you're scratching. You can develop that eczema with any irritants that are out in the environment.
What is eczema? What is it?
So it's as Dr. Young pointed out, it's kind of there are some genetic components to it, and it's associated a lot with allergies as well. People who have eczema have a higher tendency of having asthma or allergies or things like that. And having a young child as well. I have a 2-year-old son, and about half of the patients will present in their first year of life. And so that's something to watch out for. Obviously, a 1-year-old's not going to tell you they're itchy, but you can see they're uncomfortable. You'll see some redness in their skin, and it can present in certain parts of the body. So be on lookout for that. And then, as Dr. Young pointed out, having a drier climate during the winter, it makes it a lot more. The presentations are a lot more common during the winter, and so using those lotions and creams, as Dr. Young pointed out, can really help keep that at bay, keep that itch down. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just not itching it to help that.
Are there a number of, we've talked about this briefly a moment ago, over-the-counter medications? First people might just try to go to the drugstore and get something. If they're financially challenged right now, they might go for the dollar store or whatever and just try to get some real cheap cream. Can that make it worse?
Well, it depends. If you go for lotions and things with a lot of fragrances in it, that's something that also could irritate your skin. So just the more bland type creams and ointments are pretty much the best thing to use. Anything that won't irritate the skin without those preservatives and things like that.
What about aloe vera? Is there actually, I don't have any research statistics in front of me, but I've always heard that's good for skin.
It's definitely has some healing properties to the skin. I think most people use it more for sunburns. I haven't heard much of it being used for eczema type rashes.
I guess, like all things that are plant-based, it's really soothing. It can really help. But if you're allergic to it, you'll have a bad reaction, So just like everything else that we talk about, it's not the blandest because it has some plant allergens in it. And so most people can get away with it just fine. But if you become allergic to it, then it can make your rash worse, which is why a lot of times when people will come to us with a bad rash, we want to try to check that box and not put anything on them that could make them worse. So we'll try to just go pretty safe and simple, and just let the medication and the lubricant kind of do the work for us. And just to take a step back, eczema is almost like a garbage bag word. It's just a word that means rash. And so just like if you say car, you could drive a Toyota, you could drive a Prius, which we see a lot on the road here. But there are different forms of eczema. So, like Kevin was talking about, some of them are more genetically based and present with kids. And so, it's bad enough when you have a rash, but when you have a 1 or a 2-year-old, that's rashy and itching, not only will it drive them crazy, but it could drive you crazy as a parent. So a lot of times, we can help run interference and make the kid sleep better, feel better, and then the parents sleep better and feel better.
So when you're treating a very young child, it's difficult to treat the patient like that because, Corey Mon, we'll talk to you, they can't give you a lot of feedback. And so how do you do that?
Well, I have 3 kids. One's 6 months old and has eczema. And both my daughters did as well. I think most parents are probably aware if their child has bumpy, dry skin. I mean, part of taking care of those little ones is, making sure they're clean and diapers are changed and they get their baths. And I mean, it's quite obvious, when we give our little boy his bath, like he's got some eczema on his arms and his legs. And, I think that for the most part, it's something that will fade over time, and it's not necessarily something they're going to have to deal with their whole life. But the important thing to realize is that if you go to the source, sometimes you can avoid having to use a lot of medications down the road. In our case, and in most parents' cases where they have children with eczema, starting with good bathing techniques is important.
I was going to ask that, whether sanitary conditions.
some of those kind of recommendations is, number one, babies don't generally need to be washed every day. I mean, with soap and water. I mean, they don't get out and get sweaty and dirty like we do as often. And I think, some quick wipe downs with the washcloth is probably adequate for them. When they are getting their baths, you should kind of limit the time they spend in the water, and also limit how hot the temperature is. Obviously, we're worried about burning the little ones while they're in the water, and we try to keep it cooler. But as the kids get a little older, like my girls, they really would prefer to take a pretty warm shower. And the combination of spending a lot of time in the water plus the temperature is really bad for this type of skin, because it draws all that moisture out and it causes it to almost flare and get worse. And then the second part is, as soon as you're getting these children, or if you're an adult with eczema, as soon as you're getting out of the water, whether you've swam or whether you're showering or bathing, really you have a couple-minute window for that opportune time to get that moisturizer on. So a couple minutes, you should be getting out patting dry and then immediately applying moisturizer. And when we say moisturizer, our ideal moisturizer would be something like Vaseline. Not everyone wants to put petroleum jelly all over their body after they took a shower.
Most people don't.
But the creamier or the thicker the moisturizer is better. And it's important to know, too, that although some things say fragrance-free, often there are fragrances in that to make it neutral, to make it not smell. Because many of the products we use would smell pretty bad if they didn't have those things in it. So you can still be sensitive or allergic to these even hypoallergenic or non-scented type of lotion. So just be aware, if something's getting worse despite what you're doing, you probably should come in and see us.
Now, Corey, you've got a couple questions here based on what you said. You said when we're in the shower, especially when we're taking a warm shower, we draw the moisture out of the skin.
Yeah.
We're in a wet shower. I would think it would be the opposite.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what most people come in with, that understanding.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
And it makes you feel good at first, those hot showers.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes the skin feel good, but it typically will flare your eczema shortly after you've gotten out and gotten dry. And so it's principles of osmosis and concentrations of fluids in your body and outside your body.
So is eczema something, I know it's going to vary depending on the patient, but can you be cured of it? Can you totally get away with it? Or can you make it go away? Can you be cured of it? Or is it something you just kind of have to treat for an ongoing
There's
period
not
of time?
really a cure for eczema per se. You definitely can get clear or become clear for an extended period of time. But generally, people that have skin that's prone to develop eczema or atopic dermatitis, these are things that are kind of built into your genes. They're kind of, you have a predisposition, just like if you have very fair skin and blue eyes and red hair, you're going to have a little bit higher chance of getting a sunburn. It's your skin type. It's kind of what you've been given, and we manage it more than we cure it as far as dermatology is concerned.
Does stress make it worse? Now, we mentioned jokingly before the show, a lot of people during the holidays have some very stressful family situations going on, and money, and especially right now in this economic climate we're living in, a lot of stress for people. Can it make it worse? Is that hard?
Well, the way I would look at it is, if you're busy at work and you're distracted with things, then you're maybe not as focused on something that's bugging you. A lot of people with pain problems will notice that maybe their back, they didn't even realize their back was hurting because they were so busy at work. But then when they're sitting around, your mind has more time to kind of focus and think about those things. So, I think that more idle time might lead people to focus more on it. And then it's kind of like a weed. The more you fertilize the weed, the more it grows. And so if you start scratching that rash and you take hotter showers because it feels good and you do all these other things, then it can make it worse as well. And then when you're stressed out, a lot of people are more fidgety, or they'll get little bad habits. And if you have a habit of scratching or picking something, then that'll often feed it, make it worse as well, because you're breaking down that skin barrier by scratching it, plus your fingernails are dirty. And then when you're using the hot water, it helps to strip the oils out of the skin, so you're just really spiraling downward. And what we hope is that we can give most people the tools and the insights to kind of keep the eczema down, maybe to keep it in remission. And we can do that for a lot of people, but then they'll have flare-ups, and whether it's because they're stressed and maybe they're not putting their moisturizers on, or maybe they're scratching more, or maybe that's their little thing. Some people get an upset stomach when they get stressed. Some people will start scratching and picking things when they get stressed. So, we like to say stress makes everything worse, but nowadays we don't tend to blame people as much. 30, 40 years ago, that was the major thing you'd do as a doctor, is you'd blame the patient. Well, you have this problem, it must be something you're doing wrong. Now we know it's not necessarily something you're doing wrong. You can definitely make things worse, but you kind of have a genetic setup. You're born with the skin you have. Some skin's drier, some skin is more resilient, and so we just have to manage what each individual person has and help them to get to a better place.
That brings up a good point. Kevin Svenkara, let's talk to you, the intern medical student here at Silver Falls Dermatology. Dr. John Young was mentioning, individualistic. People have different skin. We're all made differently, have different skin types. Is that challenging for you? Every patient is different, and there's just so many different varieties out there.
Yeah, it is challenging, and starting my career and just finishing school, I think that's the interesting part of medicine, though, is no case is ever the same, no person's ever the same. So it keeps, I guess it keeps you on your toes and keeps you always thinking and thinking of different differentials of what the person might have, and what could go wrong with any procedures or treatments that you're going to give them.
Dr. Young, a question for you, or Corey, or anyone that wants to answer this. Let's say somebody has some itchiness on the skin, eczema, they don't really know what it is. When is the trigger point that they should come in to be seen? If it doesn't go away, what criteria should they use?
It's a great question. If it's interfering with their personal life or their sleep, or perhaps if someone else is getting itchy that they're with, maybe it's not just eczema, maybe it's scabies, which is a human mite, which we're seeing a lot of right now.
Why is that?
It's caused by close contact, and sometimes in the winter you get a little closer in bed, but it's also just more common in, I guess, people that aren't as clean too, and so we just see waves of it come and go. And I think when economic times are tougher, sometimes we see things like that get a little worse, but it's common in close contact people, like even college kids or people that are doing other things. Anybody that's in close contact with someone with it can catch it, and then it's also becoming more resistant to some of the medications. And for instance, if someone has it and keeps feeding their rash with some over-the-counter product but not killing the scabies mites, they'll get more mites, which will spread more often. And so it's the kind of thing that can spread like wildfire to close contacts.
Is it personal close contact, or can you get it from using the same restroom that another person did?
Usually not a restroom, but you could potentially get it from like clothing that's infested or that's been touching them. But they say that after about a week, the scabies will die if it's not on the skin. So it really needs to be on a person, but transiently it could be spread, but it's usually going to be some really dirty clothing or something like that, usually not like a toilet seat or something like that, something that you have to wear close to the body.
So I don't want to discourage people from buying clothing at Goodwill or anything like that, but can that incubate in those clothes, and should those clothes be treated?
Well, just a week, So if you're buying Goodwill clothes, that have probably been washed and have been hanging up, you're probably fine. But it'd be more like, the little brother grabs the big brother's dirty shirt that the big brother just tore off of him and put it on. That kind of thing, kind of quicker reuse of a dirty shirt. Maybe in people who live pretty close together in pretty tight quarters, which is pretty common nowadays with the economy.
Okay. We've been talking about itchy skin condition, eczema, in the first half hour of the show. One of the things we're going to be talking about when we come back from the break is a procedure called Ultherapy. And that is a new procedure to tighten the skin. I know every time Dr. John Young and his compadres come in here, they're very excited about it. They're very excited about it today. They're booked up till January.
Yeah, into January.
What is Ultherapy for people that have just tuned in, maybe?
So most people have heard of laser and how laser can rejuvenate and tighten the skin. Ultherapy is an ultrasound-based device. And ultrasound energy, people know, can see babies, but it can penetrate very deeply, much deeper than a laser can. And basically it tightens up the deeper tissues that laser can't reach. So it's the only thing on the market that can actually lift tissue and pull it up. And it can pull a sagging face or a sagging neck or a sagging arm up.
And especially we see a lot of, is this women especially that have the underarms that...
Yeah, the hangy underarms.
Yeah. They
Some people call it bat wings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How much, and this probably depends on the patient, how much of that can you take away?
Well, it definitely would depend. If it's someone who's lost a lot of weight and who's got a lot of extra skin, then it's probably not going to do what they want it to do. And if it's due to fat, then you probably need to get the fat removed. If it's too much hangy skin, you probably need to get the skin cut off. But it can definitely make a difference. It's a matter of how big of a difference. So if you have just a mild degree of wrinkling or sagging or hanging in the back of the arm, it can make a more noticeable difference. Usually it's best in people maybe under 70 or 65 years old. The older we get, the less the skin will respond to the tightening procedures. But it can still help.
Interesting. We'll talk more about Ultherapy and other skin issues involving Silver Falls Dermatology with Dr. John Young. Kevin Svencara is the medical internist. Is that correct?
Just medical student.
Medical student that is associated right now with Silver Falls Dermatology. And Dr. Corey Mon is here in the studio. This is Skin Talk, and we will be right back in just a moment.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. Visit AutoOwners.com. This is Charles Osgood. What if there was a bicycle that cost under $10 that was not only inexpensive, but also tough and reliable? There is one, and the secret is in the materials it's made of, as we'll hear after this. In this moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with who? Another state? Another country? Get a local, independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when bad stuff happens to your car, home, or business. In this moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people.
In Martinsville, call BB&T Insurance Services of Martinsville at 276-666-3600.
Every day, it seems, there's something new your smartphone can do. Now, it can open and close your garage door from anywhere in the world. With a LiftMaster garage door opener with MyQ technology, you can use your smartphone or computer to control your garage door from anywhere, anytime. Like right now. And LiftMaster garage door openers with battery backup keep your garage door working even if the power isn't. Find a dealer near you at liftmaster.com. Go ahead, look it up on your smartphone. In Israel, entrepreneur Nimrod Elmish believes that he has a bicycle that will take the world by storm. Here he comes now, riding it. It's a cardboard bicycle. Don't laugh.
This bicycle is built out of 95% recycled cardboard, the cheapest raw materials you can find in any country. The rest of it is recycled car tires and recycled melted bottles. So it's 100% recycled materials, and the bill of materials for that is $9.
Once the cardboard has been cut into shape, it's treated with organic materials that make it fire-resistant and waterproof. The first prototype was immersed in a tank of water for months, but retained all its strength. The inventor, Itzhar Gaffney, designed the bicycle in his garden shed.
When I took the cardboard, I tried to overcome all the weaknesses that the cardboard as a shipping material, as we all know, had. And the first few prototypes looked like a box on wheels. And then I had to make the transition between box on wheels and make it something look like a bicycle so it can be accepted by public, and that was the hard part.
Everybody almost thinks he's got a surefire winner on his hands.
This is a real game changer. I don't know how many billions of bikes are being sold in the past 10 years, but I know that the lifespan of a regular bike is maximum 5 years. So in 5 years, basically, I can replace all of them because I will be cheaper, faster, stronger, and ecological.
The Osgood File. Transcripts, podcasts, and MP3s of these programs can be found at theosgoodfile.com. I'm Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network.
Beaver Nation, this is Oregon State basketball coach Craig Robinson.
Stark now screens for Ahmad, who comes around it in deep, pump fake, ball away, 6-footer, go!
Basketball season is in full force. Do you have your tickets?
Knocked away by Collier. Stefan is ahead of the pack to the basket. Slam,
Purchase your single game tickets today at beavertickets.com. This is Beaver Nation.
Shazam! 50 guitar bustin' instrumentals available now at musicrewind.com. 50 amazing guitar instrumentals on 2 compact discs. The Ventures, Dwayne Eddy, The Shadows, Link Ray, The Drifters, Santo and Johnny, Chuck Berry, and many more perform 50 classic songs. Order Shazam 50 guitar bustin' instrumentals today for only $15.98 plus shipping at musicrewind.com or call 800-206-5002. Enter or mention coupon code Shazam22 and receive reduced shipping on your order. That's musicrewind.com or 800-206-5002.
Your voice of reason in the West is Hugh Hewitt. Weekday afternoons at 3 on Smart Talk 1580.
Skin Talk, welcome again to the show. We have Dr. John Young in the studio, Kevin Svenkara, and medical student, and also Dr. Corey Mon is with us today, so thank you for being with us on Skin Talk. Don't forget that you can somebody is going to win a $10 gift certificate from Quiznos in Albany, and just send me an email, dave@kgal.com, or call the station at 926-KGAL or 451-KGAL into the show as we do every Valley Talk segment. We give away a $10 gift certificate for Quiznos. Thanks to Dale and the crew for being a part of it. I eat lunch there every noon. Delicious. And thank you, Quiznos Albany, for being a part of what we do here on the radio. And today we are talking to Dr. John Young, Kevin, and Corey about issues affecting the skin. Right now we're talking about Ultherapy. How long have you, Dr. John Young, how long have you had Ultherapy in the Silver Falls repertoire of your treatment?
Right. Well, it's brand new technology, and we came on board and bought our machine about 2 months ago. And now I think we're the only ones between Portland and Medford. And we are busy with it, and we were just surprised at how popular it is. But it's really nice when you have something that really does work and really does deliver results. One of our providers did a treatment here in Albany yesterday, and she said that right before her eyes, the woman's face just pulled up, and the woman was very, very pleased and happy and walked out looking better right then and there. The beauty of the treatment is that not only does it make you look better right then and there, but you don't look like you've had a procedure done. You know, you're not knocked out. You don't look red because it's deep penetrating energy. It doesn't hit the top of the skin. It just goes through it and hits the lower parts of the skin, what's called the fascia. But we've now been booked out for at least a month with it, and we're really excited about it. We're still offering some Christmas and New Year's special pricing on it, and we're proud of that. One of the newest things that has happened with the Ultherapy machine is that we know it does face lifting and upper neck lifting, but recently the FDA approved it for use to tighten a whole neck up. So before we stopped well above the Adam's apple, but a lot of women will have a lot of hangy, loose skin on the neck, almost like an accordion kind of neck. And there's really nothing that can be done for that. You know, if you have a hangy face, you can get a facelift. So that would be a competing procedure. But that's expensive. It's a lot of pain, a lot of cutting, and you kind of look too tight for a while, like windblown looking. And but there's nothing for the lower neck. Now the Ulthera has been shown, and there's some beautiful before and after pictures that if you Googled the Ulthera or Ultherapy, I think it's Ultherapy. If you Google that, you could look at the neck photos, and it's just amazing looking at the before and afters. We've done a neck or two so far and had some nice immediate responses. But the beauty of the machine and the treatment is that not only do you get an immediate result for most people, but there's a delayed healing response. So we cause little small areas of injury deep in the tissues, and this causes the skin to heal deeply and tighten up and lift. And so, for instance, I had mine done over a month ago, and my neck looks better right now than it did after I had my treatment, although it looked better after the treatment than prior. And so it's a really neat thing. You know, you're welcome to make an appointment for a free consultation to see if you're a good candidate for it. But it really does deliver, and it's really tolerable. It definitely does hurt a little bit, but most people are able to get through it. And you definitely do feel like you had a procedure done after you've had it done. But the worst thing we've seen so far is maybe a little bruising afterward, such as my wife had a little bruising right under the jaw line, but that resolves pretty quickly.
There's a lot of YouTube videos out there. I just pulled it up while you were talking. On Ultherapy, there's one showing a treatment. Dr. Oz, I believe. No, that isn't Dr. Oz.
I think it's been on Oz, and it's been on the Today Show. It's been on a few national shows, and it's so new and so different that people don't even know how to mentally park it. So, you know, just to get back to it for the public to understand, you know, the only thing that tightens and lifts is plastic surgery until now. Like, that's, you had to cut deep and pull up that fascia, which is the layer right above the muscle. So it's deeper than your skin, than your fat. It's a real kind of rubber band like structure that is deep in our tissues, which holds our skin up and keeps everything tight, but it loosens with age, and it starts to sag, and people get jowling and things like that. So, but before this, you had to go and get it cut and pulled. Now we can target that rubber band-like tissue with the energy from the ultrasound and zap it, basically, and it causes it to heat up and tighten. And the sensation feels like little popping noises, kind of like if people remember the little pop candy that you put in your mouth that would kind of explode, little micro explosions, pop rocks. Yeah, it feels like that, really deep in the skin happening, and it's kind of a creepy feeling, but it's definitely unusual and neat. But that's what's happening, is that fascia's getting zapped when you feel that and pulling it up. And so, especially for people, you know, 45 to 70 who have that jowling or that looseness in their skin. We've even had younger people than that get it done who have maybe strong jowling in their family, and you can start to see it, and they've had some really nice tightening and lifting as well. And people always ask, well, how long does that last? You know, well, the way we try to explain it is that if you're 60 and we make you look 55, you know, in 5 years you would have looked 65. But after the treatment, in 5 years, you'll probably look closer to 60. So it just pulls the clock back a little bit, but you can't stop aging. So even if you have a facelift, you know, your skin will start to loosen and age from that point forward.
Kevin Svenkara, a medical student associated with Silver Falls Dermatology. Have you seen the Ultherapy procedure?
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it on a patient, but I've seen you know, how they do the technique, and it is one of the newer procedures out there. And you know, coming from Arizona, I haven't heard of anyone that's doing it. I'm sure there are a few doing it in Arizona, but really is a neat procedure that's, you know, you don't have to go into a surgical procedure, and reduces all those risks, and you get a great result with it as well.
Okay. Very attractive to patients. Obviously, you booked up through January. People like it. Word of mouth has been doing well.
It's a great value too. We're trying to really discount the pricing right now for people, and we're well below what the local people are charging for it. And it's just fun when you have something that really does deliver. And the trend in cosmetic procedures has been for people to get things done that don't involve surgery. People don't want to pay the money, and they don't want to have 2 weeks of downtime and wear bandages and worry about scars. They want to be able to go back to work, and for people to say, you look pretty good. Did you lose some weight? And that's usually a response. For instance, a patient of mine who sees me pretty regularly thought I had lost a lot of weight lately because my neck was tightened and not as loose and flabby with my double chin. And so that's usually the response people will get is, wow, you've lost weight, you look better, you look a little healthier. It doesn't look like, wow, who did the facelift on you, and why are you wearing that bandage around your head? You don't get those kind of questions.
And the machine is the machine portable? In other words, how many Silver Falls dermatology offices do you have?
We have 4 offices. The nice thing about the machine is it's like a laptop computer, basically. And on the computer screen, we're actually doing the ultrasound. So the patient and the provider can see the tissue in real time as they're holding the little treatment head, which is just like a little thing that touches the skin. They're holding that up against the skin, just like a regular ultrasound. If you had one of your gallbladder or of your stomach or something like that, it's the same type of thing. And you're looking at all those tissues. And what we do is we can dial down or up where we're shooting the tissue. So we can see the bone, we can see the things we don't want to shoot, and we just aim for exactly where we want to give the energy. And so it's pretty safe because you're not blindly shooting. With laser, you're either shooting on the top of the skin, which is not blind, you can see it, or you're shooting deeper, and you really don't know what's underneath there. But it doesn't penetrate too deeply, so you don't usually get into trouble. But when you shoot deeper with energy, like ultrasound energy, you want to see what's going on, and you want to make sure that you're aiming at the right target. And that's what's really nice, is you can see what you're treating, you can keep it at a safe level, and then you can get an immediate result from that.
How many of these treatments can you have successful, consecutively?
People ask that question, how many should I get, how many do I need? And my advice is not to spend your money on more than one until you see what you get. And your ultimate result is not going to be immediate. It's going to be 4 to 6 months later. So the company would recommend maybe 4 months as a next treatment point if you really wanted to do it. And for some people that are maybe aged a little harder or have a lot of looseness, they may want to get a second procedure done in that time frame. But for most of our patients, I think that they're going to be pretty happy and satisfied just to get the one and continue to see the improvements over 6 months.
We did an interview with your wife. It looks like we did it September 13th, 2012, where we talked on Ultherapy.
Yeah.
And she was in here, and we were running a video camera. We're not running one today, but we were then. We're going to get back to that. We're going to bring in a couple of cameras here and set them up. But we do have a YouTube clip, and you can go to YouTube and do a YouTube search on KGAL Skin Talk, and you can see that interview. You can, it looks like Dr. Corey Mon and Dr. John Young were there, and then we were joined by your wife into the interview.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that was she allowed us to do a very tight close-up on her face. You've seen the video.
Yeah.
It looks like there's been 100 people that have watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. It made her look, I didn't have a chance to meet your wife before, but she looked probably in her mid-20s to me. And
yeah, her face is much tighter. Her neck is really tight. It's much nicer. The funny thing for people listening to know is that was completely unscripted. She came to bring me something that I forgot at home. Typical guy, I forgot my wallet. She came and brought that to me, and you goat roped her onto the radio, and she was a good sport, and she spoke freely, and and had no idea she was even going to be on the radio 5 minutes before that. So it's pretty funny, and I did not get in trouble for that, just so everyone knows I was fine. So
thank you. And usually when we guys can get in serious trouble, hey, you want to be on the radio? Oh, by the way, we're shooting video too.
Oh, is your makeup on properly? Yeah, but she was a trooper. She did great.
But a very attractive lady, and it, very pronounced results. She looked to, I would guess her age to be in the mid-20s. And you always get in trouble. Guys, especially young guys, if you're, getting into the dating field, there's certain things you have to be very careful when you guess. One is weight, and the other is age when you're talking to the fairer sex. So, Kevin, are you taking notes here?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You probably already knew this. Ultherapy, amazing treatment, isn't it?
It is great. Very, very few physicians out there have it, and they can do amazing things.
Okay. This is Skin Talk. We'll take our final break. And another thing is that you have to be careful of does this dress make me look fat? Be very careful. And I guess if the answer is yes, you can follow that up quickly with, you need to talk to the folks at Silver Falls, because they have a Ultherapy treatment that you can
That's right.
you can look at. Seriously, this is Skin Talk at KGAL Radio. I'm Dave Adams, Dr. John Young with us, Kevin Svencara, and Dr. Corey Amon, and we'll be back with the program in just a moment.
Christmas time, the best time of the year. You have everything you need except time. Make good use of your time. Shop downtown Corvallis. This Christmas, enrich your life with music. Stop at Grace Winds Music. Every instrument imaginable is there. Keyboards, pianos, guitars, band and orchestral instruments, hand, percussion, and children's rhythm instruments. All the songbooks and sheet music you could ever want. Locally owned and operated for over 25 years. Grace Winds Music, 137 Southwest 3rd Street. If you're hungry, head for Tommy's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Maybe try their Beaver Buster breakfast any time of the day. It's free if you can eat it all in an hour. It's the ultimately satisfying amount of eggs, pancakes, toast, biscuits, and gravy, ham, bacon, and sausage. And don't forget, Tommy's is the biggest and best steaks in town. Great lounge, too. Tommy's on 4th, across from Safeway. Make it a special day. Come shop and dine in downtown Corvallis.
You want to give one special gift. It shows that you love what they do. It gives them cheer all through the year. You always hear, thank you. Give a garment. Give a garment. Find something fun for everyone. Garment.com, garment.com.
This season at the Home Depot, Husky 65-piece mechanics tool sets are just $29.88. These tools are new, improved, and guaranteed forever. And they're even more affordable. So what you give the do-it-yourselfer on your list can be a little gift to your wallet, too. Because you gave the gift of doing with a Husky 65-piece mechanics tool set for just $29.88. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. While supplies last, U.S. only. See store for details.
Painting is a simple pleasure when you get help from the friendly folks at Economy Supply Building Center. That's because Economy Supply is your neighborhood Ace Hardware and Contractor Center. So they know how to use and can help you select the right Ace Royal paint at a price you'll love. Colorful, high-quality Ace Royal paints start at the everyday Economy Supply low price of just $23.99 a gallon. Remember, Ace is the helpful place, and you'll find Economy Supply Building Center where Highway 34 becomes Tangent Street in Lebanon.
Ho, 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 gifts for everyone. That's right, Santa. Gifts for everyone at J&J Electric at surprisingly low discount prices. Unusual gifts you won't see anywhere else, like pre-lit, wall-hugging, flat Christmas trees, dog Santas. So cute. A great variety of ornaments, scented candles, and decorator items. Stocking stuffers sure to please. Have a bright holiday season from your locally owned J&J Electric. South Pacific at 22nd in Albany. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
The news you need, smart talk, and just enough sports. That's what you'll get from News Talk 1580, KGAL.
Here we are with Skin Talk. I'm Dave Adams, and Dr. John Young with us, Kevin Svenkara, and Dr. Corey Mon is with us. We've been talking about a treatment called Ultherapy, and during the break we were talking about something else. And Corey, you were mentioning the fact that, if you want to field this question, that you can use Ultherapy for treatment of sweaty conditions.
Yeah, so there's a condition in dermatology called hyperhidrosis, which is excessive sweating. And a lot of people experience this in their armpits, other areas of their body, their feet sometimes can be affected. But recently, the Ultherapy, which has been traditionally used to do some cosmetic facelifting and other lifting of body areas, has been tested to treat this condition of excessive sweating, and especially for the armpits or the axilla. And so it's kind of new in its approval, and we haven't had any patients yet that have come in for that specific indication. But my mother-in-law was treated. She has her sweating condition was mainly just her forehead for her whole life, and we treated her forehead, with the Ultherapy a couple weeks ago, and she said, she noticed significantly throughout the day she didn't have to dab her forehead as much, and now this has been almost 3 weeks, and she says she's pretty much about the same as she saw after it was done. But as Dr. Young had mentioned, the results from this persist and continue to show their effect 4 to 6 months into the treatment, and that's kind of when you expect to see the best results.
We have about 2.5 minutes left to go in the show. We want to make sure people know the locations of Silver Falls Dermatology.
Yeah, so we are in Corvallis on Kings Boulevard. We're in Albany, right by the mall, in the same building as the radio station and the Social Security office, the old Albany building, the old library building. And we're also in Salem and Woodburn. And our phone number is 503-362-8385, 362-8385. And right now, we do have a lot of people coming to see us before the end of the year because of insurance deductible things, like they've met their deductible, and we're seeing a lot of rashes, a lot of skin cancer. But we still have openings in case people have problems, and we'd encourage them to come in if they're itching too much or they have a new spot, or if they want to learn more about these new things that we're doing, like Ultherapy, whether it's for cosmetic benefit or to stop sweating.
Now, we just retagged the Ultherapy interview we did in September. We retagged it with, just go to YouTube and do a YouTube search for KGAL Skin Talk, and you'll be able to pull that up. You can also do a YouTube search for Silver Falls Dermatology, and you should be able to pull up that YouTube video so you can see Dr. John Young's wife and how beautiful she is. You have a very attractive wife, John.
Oh, thanks.
And you'll see, what it looks like and the difference it made for her. So it's been a while since she's had that treatment on her face. She's still pleased with the results?
Yeah, looking a little bit tighter, and that's the nice thing. We've noticed most people look a little bit better at about 3 to 4 weeks. So it's kind of nice where you get a little lift right there, and then you're going to continue to get better over 6 months.
We got a couple of minutes left to go in the show. Rashes, what we started the show with, eczema.
Right.
Closing thoughts.
Yeah, your question was, when should people come in? Well, if they're self-treating a rash and it gets worse, you should come in, because maybe it's not pure rash. Like we said, maybe it's scabies, maybe it's fungus. So we like to take a look and see, and sometimes it can be a more serious problem where we need to take a biopsy of it. So if it's interfering with their sleep, certain things like scabies are really notorious for that, but just a bad rash can also do that. So we can usually get you relief topically, and if it's real serious, we can go with pills of different sorts depending upon how much it's interfering with people's lives. And believe it or not, we see a lot of itching in regions that people don't want to talk about, so we like to help people with that too. So it's not anything to be embarrassed about. If you're miserable or itchy, we can help.
Okay, it's KGAL Skin Talk. We'll join you again second Thursday of the month. Have a good day.
Locally owned and operated, this is the very independent News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.